Hello, Dr. Steve G. Jones, clinical hypnotherapist here, and today we're talking about amnesia. Now, amnesia is the fourth part of a five-part hypnotherapy session. And so far we've talked about inductions, deepenings, scripts. Today we'll talk about amnesia, the fourth part, and then after that comes trans-termination, where you're bringing the person out of hypnosis. So we've got, so far, inductions, where you're putting the person into hypnosis, from not being in hypnosis to going into hypnosis. Deepenings, where you're intensifying that, bringing them deeper into hypnosis, as the name implies. Scripts, where you're doing all of the action, you're changing the way they think, you're changing their thoughts, you're changing whatever it is they want to work on, you're helping them. So that's scripts. And today we're going to talk about amnesia. I'll get into that in just a moment, discuss with you why in the world we would have someone forget all the good work we've done. And then trans-termination will be part 5 of our 5-part series, which will be the next video in this series, the next and final video. So we have amnesia to talk about today. It's going to be a shorter conversation than usual because amnesia is actually fairly quick. We don't need to spend a lot of time in amnesia, so we don't need to spend a lot of time discussing it. It's a fairly brief conversation. But let's go ahead and check in before we get started and see who we have. Wonderful turnout today for this Wednesday. If you're watching on Facebook and it is Wednesday, this is a live broadcast, so you can put in your comments, your questions. I'd ask you to save your questions till the end. I'm going to talk a little bit about amnesia, and then I'll open it up for discussion and questions. So hello Brenda, hello Amagilla, hello Miss Rowley, hello Sabrina, Ruth Ann, hello Annie, hello Ida, hello Miranda, hello Jeff, hello Mehelis, I hope I pronounced that right. Hello, Yasmin. Hello, Annie. Hello to you. Melinda's joined. Hello, Rudy. Hello, Nadia. Hello, Kathy. And Lucine, Jahira, Edie, Mafrid. Hello, Anki. Hello, Katarina. Hello, Nancy. Hello. Hello to everyone. If you're just joining, Deborah, hello to you too. Got a big turnout. Zilia, hello. Love the jacket. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. All right. So hello from Manchester, Washington. Hello to you too. So we've got people from all over the world. We got apparently a few different Manchesters in the world who from that area, they tune in. So we're always happy to see everyone tuning in. Nubly, hello. Rena, hello. Isa, hello. Mirkum. Hello everyone. If you're just joining for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. There should be a link up here. Hello, Melinda. If you're watching on Facebook Live, I'd like you to go ahead and click the link up here so you'll be notified. You'll get notifications of when I go live. So I do these Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The time is dependent upon my schedule. A lot of times I'm recording hypnosis audios or videos, or I'm in meetings that have to do with promoting my hypnosis programs. We have to have a lot of marketing type meetings and see how we can get the word out to a greater audience. So a lot of things going on throughout my day, but I always make time Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, somewhere around noon Pacific time, to jump in and say hello to everyone and teach a lesson. So if you are joining for the first time and you haven't already done so, please go ahead and click the button up here. That allows you to have notifications if you're watching this on Facebook. And also, even if you have done that before, and if you have been watching me for a few times, go ahead and like this video if you would. Go ahead and share it. We want to get the word out there about the subconscious mind. We want to tell everyone about the power they have to create the life that they want. And today we're talking about amnesia. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Hello to everyone who has just joined. I'm going to talk a little bit about amnesia, the fourth part of a 5-part hypnotherapy process. Again, we have the induction, the deepening, the script, amnesia, and finally trans-termination. So today we're talking about amnesia. So why would we want someone to forget all of the programming we've done on them in hypnosis? Why? It sounds like we're undoing what we've done with the programming. I mean, someone has come to an office or they've listened to a recording that's programming them to stop smoking, to lose weight, to be more confident, to be more motivated, to have any number of things begin for them, or any negative things they want to get rid of, to have those things end, why would we want to undo the programming that we've spent so much time working on? We've gotten through the induction, we've gotten through the deepening where we've intensified the hypnotic trance. Now we've done the script, we've programmed them for change, kind of like surgery as I described it in the script, where we're kind of opening the patient. If you look at it like heart surgery, the induction would be the incision we make, the deepening might be opening the chest cavity, and the script might be doing bypass surgery or removing some unwanted, awful clogging that's happened in the heart, or replacing the heart altogether if we were to be doing heart surgery. That's a great comparison for hypnosis, because in hypnosis we're changing the way they think, we're replacing their old thoughts with positive, helpful thoughts, we're just enhancing, maybe we're bypassing some negative programming they've had in there. So we're doing something very similar to open heart surgery, but we're using words. So why would we want them to forget that? Now in open heart surgery, it's clear. You want the patient to be out completely, not aware of anything, and we don't want them remembering any of the open heart surgery, of course, because that would be traumatizing. But if we're programming them with just good stuff, just good information, just good words, then why would we want them to forget all of that? Think about that. We're programming them for motivation or confidence, or to have more power in life, or to stop smoking or to lose weight. Why would we want to block their memory of that? It almost doesn't make sense, almost counterintuitive. So the reason is we don't want them to consciously analyze, after they come out of hypnosis, we don't want them to consciously analyze the subconscious programming that we've done with them. We've taken so much time to put them into hypnosis, to program them for a powerful change while they were there. We don't want them to come out of hypnosis and say, hey, I know Dr. Steve G. Jones told me that I'm not going to eat cake anymore, I'm going to eat broccoli instead, or instead of eating fried chicken, I'm going to prefer lean chicken breast. And so we've done all that programming. We don't want them coming out of hypnosis and saying, oh, wait a minute, he programmed me for all this stuff, but I think about it now, I really do like fried chicken, or I really do like cake and broccoli. Why would I like that? So we don't want them analyzing what we've done. We don't want them consciously analyzing it. So I want you to think about hypnotic amnesia like this. We would be the executive. Let's say our office. We have an office here, and here we're in the office, and there's a partition here. So this is us. We're in our office. We are our conscious, wide awake selves. We are in our office. There's a wall here. This is the wall dividing our conscious mind, where we mostly exist in our conscious lives. Hello, how are you? I'm wide awake. I'm interacting with the world. I'm in my conscious mind here. But in this scenario, let's imagine us at a desk. Because when we're at a desk, we're in control. We're in charge of that office. And so we're sitting at a desk. Now there's a wall here. That's the dividing line between the conscious and the subconscious mind. And we have a secretary here. So let's say our secretary, we tell him to get us a file. That's how we remember things. We say, secretary, we don't actually say this, of course, but for our analogy, we'll say that we do. So we tell our secretary, bring me the file on when I was 5 years old and I was at my birthday party. Well, then he will go get that file from over here, from the subconscious arena. Remember, there's a wall here. Here we are at our desk. We're saying, hello, secretary, or maybe a little buzzer. Hello, yes, please bring me the file for when I was 5 years old at my birthday party. The secretary will get that message, and he will go to the file cabinet and get that information and bring it through the door to you. There we are. We have that information now. So here we have our conscious selves, where I'm putting us for right now, when we're wide awake, we're in our conscious minds. When we're asleep in a dreamland, we're over here, but we're in our conscious mind. We want to remember our 5th birthday party. Very simple request. So we say, secretary, please bring us that file. He says, of course. Goes to the file cabinet, looks up, okay, there's 7 years old, there's 6 years old, there's 5 years old, okay, here's the birthday party, here it is, okay, let me grab that file, walk it over through the door, here you are, puts it nicely on our desk, and we can read it. And all that happens like that, usually, unless we have some sort of memory disorder or memory challenges, or unless something traumatic happened at the event that we want to block out. Those types of discussions are beyond the scope of today's lesson. But in an ordinary situation, that's what happens with any memory that we want, as long as we're being reasonable. Sometimes if we want to remember, being born, for example, that might be more of a challenge because those memories are harder to access. Going into hypnosis can help with that, but having it consciously delivered to you is going to be more of a challenge. But most memories are readily accessible. What did I do yesterday? What did I eat yesterday? Unless you have an extremely busy schedule like mine, then you tend to look on your schedule to see what you did yesterday. But under normal circumstances, with normal memories, especially wonderful memories and memories that are more memorable. For example, if you wanted to remember the day before your 5th birthday, that's more of a challenge because it wasn't really memorable. It wasn't what what psychologists would call a light bulb memory, or a flash bulb memory. They have different names for it, but I believe when I was studying psychology in the 80s, we called that something like a light bulb memory or a flash bulb memory because it's, everything's bright and everything's clear and it gets embedded more clearly. It's more rich with texture of sight and sound and feel because it meant something to you. Sort of like if you get married or if you get divorced or something traumatic happens that's not overly traumatic, these will stand out. For example, when 9/11 happened, I remember where I was. I remember being scared. I remember wondering what's going on in the world, or is the world coming to an end? That memory is very vivid for me. Some people who are older than me might remember JFK getting shot. They remember where they were, sometimes what they were wearing. So, and wedding day could be another example. Birthdays are good examples. So sometimes the memory is more robust that we can get access to consciously. Sometimes it's lacking depending on how important it was to us at the time. So again, we are here in our conscious mind. We are at our desk. Here's a wall dividing our conscious mind from our subconscious mind. There's a secretary over here, and there's a file cabinet over here. So when we want to remember something, what did I have for lunch yesterday? I ask the secretary, he goes and gets the file. Okay, yesterday, lunch. Oh, there it is, picks up the file, brings it through the door, through the wall, through the door, and brings it to us. Here's what you had at lunch yesterday. Of course, that's not really the way it works. In the analogy that I'm developing, that's just a way for you to understand it. So, here's what happens when we use hypnotic amnesia. Here's what happens. We still have us, our conscious mind. Let's say we've just come out of a hypnosis session and we want to remember the hypnosis session. We're wondering what happened during that hypnosis session. That's any hypnosis session, because a lot of people use amnesia. So we ask then, what happened during that hypnosis session? We tell the secretary. He goes to look for the file of what happened during the hypnosis session. The file is still there. The file is still in the file cabinet. We have not removed the file. What we have done is scrambled the secretary's access to it. He's confused. He doesn't know where to look for that file. The file is still in there. So this is an important distinction between reality and, let's say, Hollywood. Perhaps you've seen the movie, I'm asking my retrieval system to get that file for me now. It may not be completely accurate, but Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, starring Jim Carrey, and I don't recall the female lead. In that movie, Jim Carrey, in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, if you haven't seen it, great movie, not based on fact, based on theory, but I'm not sure how factual it is. But in that movie, they go in and physically destroy the memories of people who want to forget something. In the movie's case, they've had a relationship they want to forget. So They physically, using physical instruments, destroy the memories. And in the movie, we find out it's not exact. Neither is hypnotic amnesia, by the way. It's not necessarily thorough. It's an attempt to scramble the conscious recollection of what's happened, but it's not necessarily going to be thorough, and that's okay because we've done our job. We've made an attempt to scramble the memory, and that's okay. So in that movie, which is fantasy, it's not reality, it's fantasy. But in that movie, the scenario would be, okay, we have us as the conscious person at the desk. We have the wall dividing the conscious mind, the subconscious mind. We tell the secretary to retrieve the file, and the file's gone. It's been burned. Someone took a lighter to it and destroyed the file. Now again, that's fantasy. To the best of my knowledge, we don't have that technology yet, although it is somewhat conceivable. But as they showed in the movie, one of the potential pitfalls of that is that the memory could still linger, and the brain is very interesting because it can make other neural connections. Perhaps the memories are connected to other things, so it becomes a very complex network of connections. And through that, the fantasy in the movie is they're able to develop the plot in such a way that these memories do seep back in just a little bit, and eventually they get back together and so forth. And it's a great Hollywood movie, but it's just fiction at this point. So my point here is that we are not destroying memories with hypnotic amnesia. We are not affecting the file cabinet at all. It's still intact with all the files. What we are doing with hypnotic amnesia is interfering with the secretary's ability to retrieve that file. So after hypnotic amnesia, we say, hello, here I am, sitting at a desk. Please, secretary, go ahead and get the file for me of the hypnosis session I just had. All right, so he gets the message. He doesn't know where to look. Instead of looking through, okay, yeah, hypnosis session, okay, he doesn't know where to look. His idea is scrambled. Now, it doesn't have 100% effectiveness. We're just making an attempt to scramble that. And the reason, again, that we do that is because we don't want the patient to come out of hypnosis and say, hey, secretary, bring me the file of my weight loss hypnosis session. Goes and brings the file. Oh my goodness, it says here that I don't like chocolate cake. It says here that I don't like pizza every day. It says here that I like to exercise on a regular basis. It says here that I feel good about myself, that I have a positive self-image, that I see myself as slimmer and thinner and more muscular and attracting positive attention and feeling good about myself. I don't know about this. I'm gonna have to think about this one. And in thinking about it, they can undo it. So that's why we use amnesia, and that's how we use amnesia. So hopefully that makes sense, that analogy. No, these people don't exist in your head. Actually, the brain is far more complex than the way I'm portraying it because of these connections that we make. This may remind you of that, and that may remind you of that. Then we have a whole neural network that's been set up about memories. The brain is far more complex than we may ever understand. If you look up brain psychology and brain scientists who, medical doctors who study it, you'll quickly get to the point where they say, we don't know. We don't know exactly how this works, or we don't know exactly everything this part of the brain does. So the brain is far more complex than the way I'm portraying it, but for simplicity matters, that's why we do amnesia, and that's how we do amnesia. So got a few minutes. Pretty straightforward topic. I'll take a couple questions. Let me go ahead and just say this one last thing. When we do amnesia, we don't spend a lot of time on it. And we use something called a double bind a lot of times, where we say, you may forget to remember what I said during the hypnosis session. Notice I limit it to the hypnosis session. We don't want them to forget things in general. You may forget to remember what I said during the hypnosis session. You may choose to forget to remember or remember to forget. Now, what do either of those things mean? They both mean forget. So that's a very common double bind amnesia. So again, we would say at the end of the hypnosis session, this is the fourth part of the hypnotherapy session, we have the amnesia right as number 4. So first we have the induction, then the deepening, then the script. We've just programmed them with change. Then amnesia, what we're talking about today, then amnesia. Right after the script, we tell them things such as, you may forget to remember what I said during the hypnosis session today, or remember to forget what I said during the hypnosis session today. The choice is yours. When you forget to remember, or you remember to forget, they're both forgetting. So that's one of the ways we do amnesia. There are a number of other ways. If you really want to get into this, if you really want to dive down deeply into this, check out the website, which is hypnosiscertified.com. Hypnosiscertified.com is going to teach you how to be a hypnotist. It's going to take you through all the steps and really elaborate and give you more context for amnesia and more types of amnesia that you can use. But in a nutshell, that's amnesia. So let's go ahead and open it up to questions. Amnesia being a very, very small part of the hypnotherapy session. I mean, we're talking about a minute, maybe 2 minutes just to deliver these words about forgetting the session. And then we move on to transtermination, where we bring them up out of hypnosis, or we tell them, okay, if you're listening to a recording, just go to sleep and wake up in the morning. Because why wake up if you're listening to a relaxing recording? So, any questions about amnesia? Any questions about that? Okay, so we have Shervin saying, hello, Dr. Steve. Is it better to use the word you or I am when doing affirmation recordings? So a question that's not related to amnesia directly, but it is related to hypnosis recordings also, in addition to affirmation recordings. And I have not seen any. I like to be data driven, so and in hypnosis sometimes that's a challenge because universities usually don't do studies on a lot of topics in hypnosis because it's not something that big businesses or the government are necessarily interested in, so we don't see a lot of funding for it. But to the best of my knowledge, based on the research I have seen, Sherivan, it doesn't matter whether you say you or I in the recording. And if someone has a preference, always go with the preference. Okay, next question. Brenda says, what if the amnesia doesn't work? Does it change anything? Great question. And as I've said, it doesn't always work. And usually it works with a certain degree of success. And oftentimes it would work whether we did it or not. Oftentimes the patient would not have a recollection of the hypnotherapy session even if we didn't do amnesia, because they're so far into hypnosis. A lot of patients go into, remember the stages of hypnosis, alpha, theta, and delta. So some patients go down to theta or delta where it's very challenging to remember anything that happened during it anyway. So even if we didn't do amnesia, it wouldn't make a difference. So sometimes it doesn't make a difference because they don't respond to it and they remember everything anyway. That happens. Sometimes it doesn't make a difference because they didn't need it anyway and they were going to forget anyway. Usually it's somewhere in the middle. And it's a good thing to do. Why? Well, because it only takes a minute or two. Why not, is what I say. And when it does work, it serves a valuable purpose, stopping them from overanalyzing what's going on. Stopping them from overanalyzing going on. And Anki, I do see your comment, says please slowly. I know what that means from our people who listen who are in other countries. Sometimes I get a little excited. I mean, these broadcasts that I do are in the middle of my workday, so I'm very pumped up. I'm very excited. I'm not doing a hypnotherapy session. When I do a hypnotherapy session, I of course speak slowly, but I'm very amped up because, you know, it's right in the middle of the day and I'm creating all these programs. I'm very excited, so please forgive me. But you can watch this a few times if you want. And if you want it all in a much slower pace, easier to digest, just check out hypnosiscertified.com, where I do deliver it in a very easy to understand way. But I will make an attempt to slow down in the future. All right, Lucine says you are powerful. All right, thank you. Everyone is powerful. We are all powerful if we just realize it. Okay, so any other questions about that? I do see a question from Lillian. It says, a person can be hypnotized against their will. I have not seen that. I have not seen people hypnotized against their will. I don't think that's a good idea. I can't even imagine that being legal. I haven't seen any legislation about it, but I would not think that that's a good idea at all. The people I hypnotize have paid me to to do that for them, to hypnotize them. I never hypnotize someone unless it's a formal situation and they've signed the appropriate paperwork, and then I'm going to hypnotize them. So hypnotizing someone against their will, I don't believe that would work, and it's also something that should never ever happen, Lillian. So thank you for that question. And okay, I don't see any other questions about amnesia. I've got a couple more minutes. If there are any questions, just go ahead and pop them out there. I will be glad to take one final question if there is one, and I will be glad to help everybody. Thank you for joining. Brenda, Chantal, Tensia, Jane, Lucine. Hello, everyone. Kathy says, like diets, your hypnosis on diet help. I lost 10 pounds. But stop the sugar intake. Excellent, excellent. I've used my own hypnosis recordings to lose weight, and I've had a lot of success with that. So thank you very much for all of that. We did have a question that came in about amnesia through email, and that was wanting one other example of amnesia. So another example I'll give you really briefly is you can say to them, instead of the double bind that I mentioned, where you choose to forget to remember or remember to forget, you can have them say, you can attempt to remember something that I said here at this point in the hypnosis session, or you can attempt to remember something that I said here at this point in the hypnosis session, giving them specific times that they're attempting to remember. And that's a challenge. I mean, think about it. Even during this talk, what was I saying exactly 4 minutes ago? Do you know? Not consciously, because your brain doesn't track things like that. Exactly what I was saying exactly 4 minutes ago? No, that's not the way the brain works. The brain doesn't work like a video editor would see things where there's a timeline and this is correlated with that time and that's correlated with that time. Brain doesn't work that way. So you give them a challenge. You can attempt or try. I don't like the word try, except when I want someone to not be able to do it, as in the case of amnesia. I'm attempting to show them that they're not able to remember it. So to answer that question that came in through email, another form of amnesia is to say to them, you can try to remember what I was saying 4 minutes ago, or you can try to remember what I was saying 2 minutes ago, but I want you to realize it seems like a lot of work. And so just let it go. Let go of your concern about that and continue to relax. So what happens in the mind is the mind says, wait a minute. I'm not able to remember exactly what he was saying 4 minutes ago, and I'm not able to remember exactly what he was saying 2 minutes ago. That sounds correct. I'm not able to remember those. So I guess my recollection of the hypnosis session isn't as good as I thought it was. And then they start to question their entire recollection of the session. So that's another slightly more advanced form, but that's another form of amnesia. All right. So, and Lucine says, because you talk fast. Yes, I realize that. And again, I realize that I get caught up in this, and I get excited about that. If there are any other questions about this, feel free to check out the free resource we have, which is a website. The programs are not free, but the website is free. You can browse through and look, at least, at hypnosiscertified.com. Check it out. We have a lot of hypnosis certification programs. That's if you want to take it to the next level. I realize that a lot of people just want to have it done for them. And if you want to just have it done for you, then I've got a resource for you also, which is hypnosisbystevegjones.com. Again, hypnosisbystevegjones.com. And that sums up our talk on amnesia. Next time, in part 5 of 5, we will talk about trance termination. That'll wrap up our 5-part series on hypnotherapy. I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, hoping you have an outstanding day.